What's up, guys? It's Wolf with the Quarantine, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game that will be seeking funding on Kickstarter by the name of Tamps. Now, Tamps is a party-style game that plays 4, 6, 8, or 9 players, and it plays in approximately 20 to 30 minutes. Now, if you like what you see here, I will have a link to the Kickstarter up here and down in the description when it is available. That'll take you directly to the Kickstarter page, and it'll provide you with way more information than I could possibly cover here in this review. What is Tamps? Well, what Tamps is it's effectively 5 of the exact same card. So the players are going to form up into teams, and you are now trying to secretly form Tamps and make little signals, whether you pinch your nose or rub your eyebrow, or you want to do something, and you're going to make some kind of hidden signal that your team agrees on, so when you do, somebody else in your team can shout Tamps and show that you guys have it, and you score a point. So that's really the best way I can go figure out to explain the game, so let's just go straight over to how it's played, shall we? Alright, before I continue, I do have to state, as usual, this is a review, it is not a tutorial, so if I do get any of the rules wrong, or I skip some entirely, it should still give you a basic idea of how the game is played and whether or not the game is for you. The other thing being, everything you see here is a prototype copy of the game, so everything you see is of course subject to change, including rules. However, the designer did send me copies of the cards of what he hopes the game will look like when it's finished. So this is going to be the backs of the cards, and this is going to be the front of the cards, and again, this is still subject to change as well. So, let's get into how the game is played. So, as I mentioned, the game plays 4, 6, 8, or 9 players. So 4, you'll have 2 teams of 2. 6, you'll have 2 teams of 3 or 3 teams of 2. 8, you'll have 2 teams of 4, and then 9, you'll have 3 teams of 3. And everybody's going to break off into their teams, and then now you each are going to discuss what your sign is going to be. And it'll make sense, a little more sense in a minute, but once you achieve a Tamps, you have to give a sign. Whether it's something like scratching your nose, or whether, you know, maybe you stretch real dramatically, or whatever, stroke your beard, stroke your eyelashes or your eyebrows, whatever. Your team has to determine some kind of secret sign. Now, the sign has to follow specific requirements. The sign has to not contain any verbal cues in it, so I can't cough. It's not allowed to be under the table. It has to be in public view where everybody can see it, and it's not allowed to be digital, so I can't text somebody that, hey, I have a Tamps. So you're going to determine what your secret sign is. Once everybody's done that, each player is going to draw 5 cards. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll do that. And let's say we're playing a 4-player game. So we have 2 teams of 2. So what's going to happen here is after everybody gets their 5 cards, you're going to pick 1 card for each player plus 1. So in this case, we would have 5 cards out here in the middle. Then you're going to reveal the bottom card. So let me explain what a Tamps is, because in this case, whatever the bottom card is going to be very difficult to try to pull off a Tamps with that card. The reason why is this is a Tamps. It is 5 cards, all different colors, all containing the same exact symbols. So there's 1 of each color of each symbol. So there's only 1 card that's just exactly like this. So if that's on the bottom, unless we get through the entire deck, you're not going to be able to make a Tamps with that symbol. So you're going to reveal that, and then flip this back over. And then now, after everybody's been looking at their cards, whoever the dealer is or whoever wants to will say go. Now, the 2 players right here will look at their hands, and they'll be discussing with each other on the team, okay, who's got what, and what Tamps do we need to try to shoot for. So, if we look at this player already has 1, 2, 3 that are identical. So maybe he wants to shoot for that. But I have these 2. So maybe I want to start shooting for that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to look out here, and you are allowed to take a card from here, but you also have to replace it with a card. So no time can you have more than 6 or less than 4 cards in your hand. So I could go, oh, I really need this. So I'll take this, and then I'll replace it with that. The problem is, not the difference, the thing is if, like, say I go, okay, I'm going to get rid of this, and try to do this. Somebody else can just immediately pick this up because there's no turn structure. You're constantly swapping cards and hands are going all over the place. So, you know, I grab that. But let's say my teammate really needed this card. So I'm going to go, okay, I'll take this, drop this down. And then my teammate, as he's reaching for it, the other team goes, oh, I need this. And then he drops a card. So my teammate just lost out on this card, and that really sucks. So you're going to continue doing that, to discussing back and forth and go, okay, well, I need these, so you need to, all right, let's whisper and do this and da-da-da-da, until, and you're swapping cards, okay, I'm going to take this and I'll pop this down here, and so on and so forth. And you're also trying to throw a little bit of misinformation. You don't only want to grab the cards that you need, because then your opponents are going to know that maybe they have one of these in their hand, so they know never to drop it, so you'll never get a Tamps. And you're going to keep doing that until one of two things happens. Either everybody just goes, there's nothing in there we need. So in that case, you will take these 5 cards, you will discard them over here off to the side, and you will put out the same number of cards, number of player, plus 1. And then you will continue doing the same thing. Okay, alright, go. Alright, so we need, let's see, what are we going to, I'm going to go ahead and take this, and we're going to, let's see, I'm going to drop these down. And you're not allowed to do what I just did, where you kind of do that. You have to drop it down on the table, let go of it, grab another card. So we're going to be doing that, and okay, well, I'm going to drop this, and so on and so forth. The other thing that you can do is you do your signal, whether it's rub your nose or whatever, your little signal. Now, if your teammate notices you doing the signal, he can yell Tamps and then point at you and go, he has a Tamps. And if you do, well, no matter what, you have to reveal your hand. If you have a Tamps, your team scores a point, and it's best of 5. Or you could do best of, I think it's best of 7. But best of 5 is a pretty good little length. Or if he's wrong, the enemy does a Tamps, or not does a Tamps. The enemy gets a point. However, your opponents can also call a Tamps. If they, I don't know, you scratch your nose or something, and they think that's the signal, they can go Tamps. He has one, and point across the table at you. If you reveal your hand and actually have a Tamps, they get the point. But if you don't, you guys get the point. And you continue to do that until somebody gets 5 points. After somebody gets a Tamps, you're going to take all of these, you're going to shuffle them all up, and then you're going to start the whole violent round over again and do it all again. And that is how you play Tamps. So let's just go over to my final thoughts, shall we? Alright, Tamps. Well, I'm going to start off by saying the party game genre is usually very hit or miss for me. Like Cards Against Humanity is one of those games that I can only play once or twice a year, maybe more if I'm drinking with some friends or something. Werewolf, I'm not a huge fan of it. I will play it in at a convention because I feel it's more of an activity than a game. Telestrations is fun. I do like Telestrations. And I have a couple other ones that I can't think of off the top of my head. But for the most part, party games are very hit or miss for me. But Tamps is very hit. I really like Tamps because it's so simple to play and it's so chaotic. The fact that you're whispering to your teammate about, okay, if you need to see this card, kind of point it out to me, and okay, this is what I'm going to try to work for, and you see what he's trying to work for, so you're keeping your eye out for those cards in case he's not paying attention, yada yada yada. But you're also trying to listen to what the teammates are saying because they're doing the same thing. And then when you add that with the fact that all of the symbols are so similar, there's like minor things, like maybe this one, the top part of the triangle is missing, but this one, it's the top bottom left. So they look very similar. Or maybe this one's got a stripe on it, but this one, or this one's got 2 stripes, but this one's got 3. And so you got to pay attention to exactly the ones you have, and maybe you don't realize you don't have a Tamps, or maybe you're mislooking at it and you actually do have a Tamps, and so on and so forth. And that's a really cool element to the game because it's high stress, but in a fun way. Because you're like, God, these cards all look exactly the same. What do I got? Yada, yada, yada. You're like looking at your teammate, you're like, oh, I need that card. Let me drop that down. And then the fact that they have to put it down and let go of it, and the teammate can just grab it. And you're like, crap, I needed that card. And so that's a really cool element to the game. And then the fact that you have your little hidden sign that you can, of course, change from round to round, that's really cool too. So To give you an example, we played a game the other day, and it was me and my brother versus my dad and wife. And I had just mentioned to my brother that I really need this one card, and if he sees it, pick it up because I'm gonna need it. That way, in case I don't get it. And you know, we were discussing that while the game's going on, and I had dropped a card and picked up another one to try to kind of throw off the teammate, my wife and dad, and then my nose really itched, so I scratched it and I did this. And it was totally innocent. It was me scratching my, because I was holding cards and I did this, and that's all I did. And my dad was like, "Tamps, he's got a Tamps," and it gave us the game because he inaccurately accused me of having a Tamps. And I revealed my hand. I didn't have anything. He gave us the last point we needed to win, and it was cool. It was a lot of fun, and that's such a fun aspect of the game. Is it this hugely tactical game? No, not at all. But it's a very fun activity. It falls in the same category, in my opinion, as something like Telestrations. Telestrations isn't the best game in the world. It's a very funny, very fun, ha ha ha, you're laughing kind of game. And that's fun. However, it does have a couple issues that we did find with the game. This is non-prototype issues, is the fact that it's so unstructured, it gets super chaotic. Like the fact that you could really kind of screw over some of the rules, like I'm going to drop a card, but my teammate is ready and his hand is hovering right there over that card because he really needs that. Versus the way you're supposed to be doing it with you drop the card and it has to be slid across the table and whole 9 yards. And then on top of that, it can start arguments because, you know, who had their hand on the card first, because the two people both try to take the same card because they know we need it, or so on and so forth. And that's why you also got to be careful with what you say, because the teammates can hear you, so they can steal your cards essentially before your teammate has a chance to grab it. So that was an issue that you might have with the game. We didn't. We were very lax while playing it, and it is a very lax, very humorous party game. But if you're playing with the wrong kind of people, like I mentioned, it could start some arguments and anger and blah blah blah. So just don't play it with those people. But overall, I definitely recommend Tamps. The game is great, good, fun little party game. Anyways, that is my review for Tamps. If you like my channel, you can support me on Patreon. I have the link up there. Any little bit helps. I also have a Twitch and a Twitter down in the comment section. If you'd like to check those out, I'm hoping to stream more video games soonish. On top of that, if you could just give this channel a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time in the quarantine.